Board of Athletic Trainers meeting is convening at 9:02 a.m. on February 12th, 2025. This meeting is being held in person and through Microsoft Teams video conference and is being recorded. The recording will be posted to the internet for public viewing. I will now call roll. Ken Takanaka, aye. Jeff Kawaguchi, Vice Chairperson.
Aye.
Dale Isaac.
Aye.
Sean Robinson.
Aye.
And Haley Hay is not present. Members, when you wish to speak, please state your last name for the record. Board members are asked to not use the chat feature during meetings. The Health Licensing Office asks that individuals attending through Microsoft Teams keep their phones muted and cameras off during the entire meeting or until they are given an opportunity to comment during the public and interested parties feedback period if indicated on the agenda. Public comment is limited to matters listed on the meeting agenda or topics relevant to what this board has statutory authority to regulate. Public members wishing to speak, please sign in on the roster sheet available in the room or email Josh Page at josh.page@oha.oregon.gov and provide your first and last name. Everyone is asked to use appropriate language, manners, and protocols when conducting board business.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. I am Bob Bothwell. I'm the director here at the Health Licensing Office. And the first item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. So we'll need a motion for someone to approve the agenda.
This is Dale Isaac. I make a motion to approve the agenda.
And this is Jeff Kawaguchi. I second.
Very good. Chair, can we get a roll call again? And you do not have to call Haley's name since she's not attending.
Okay. Jeff Kawaguchi.
Approve. Aye.
Dale Isaac.
I approve.
Sean Robinson.
Aye.
And this is Ken Takanaka, and I also approve.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody. Again, my name is Bob Bothwell. I'm the director at the Health Licensing Office. The next item on the agenda are reports. If you're following along on the materials that we've provided, I'm on slide 7, and it is around the membership of the board and the current board members' standings. We have Dale Isaac is in a second term, and Dale's term expires April 20th, 2025. Jeff Kawaguchi's in a first term, and it expires March 28 of 27, and Jeff can reappoint. Dale cannot reappoint. I don't think I said that. Ken Takanaka is in a first term, and Ken's current term expires August 29 of 2026, and he can reappoint. Sean Robinson is in a first term. It expires April 30 of 28, and Sean can reappoint. Haley is in her second term, and that current term expires October 17 of 2027, and Haley cannot reappoint. Also in this letter regarding the board membership and recruitment, there are some links. If you're looking at it online, they're in blue and they're on the first page. Those links are requirements that the board needs to do, the board members need to do training. The first one is overview of boards and commissions. That's required once per term. So each time you sign up or your initial appointment to the board, that is a required training. There's the Information Security Training Foundations, that's required annually. And there is the Preventing Discrimination, Harassment, and that's required annually. The fourth item is the Government Ethics Overview of Oregon Ethics Law, which is optional, but I highly recommend. I used to tell board members it's interesting and it's optional, but now with the recent changes to the ethics law, I would highly recommend watching it. What's happened with the ethics change in the law is the public meeting laws have changed, and the Ethics Commission is enforcing those changes. So HLO will work with the boards. I think Jeff may have received a letter from us about this. And basically, as of October 1, there were some changes. October 2024, there were some changes around public comment. If comment is allowed, the comments have to pertain to what the board has statutory authority over, and the requirements of what the chair or the board is discussing at any particular time. So if we're discussing concussions, public comment should be around concussions and not stray onto something different. And the public is supposed to have the same amount of time. And they're giving testimony to the board. So if the board decides it's 3 minutes, the chair decides to give 3 minutes, then we have to give everybody 3 minutes, or the option of 3 minutes. Executive sessions, we get into those periodically with this board, and they are narrow and they just need to stay on topic. We can't stray into other items, questions that we have, that they need to stay on topic. And our AG, Heather Fogelsong, keeps us, she keeps tight rein on that and makes sure that we don't stray. Notice requirements. We put the letters out, we put the agenda out for the public to see, and that's a requirement. So most things we do pretty well. And so this has not been a huge lift for HLO, just ensuring that the board members get notified of the training that's required and of the changes in the public meetings law, and that the Ethics Commission is enforcing it. There have been some cases already, and no civil penalties had been issued, but so they're in a training mode, kind of like HLO does when we bring on a new program or have a huge shift in statutes or rules. We give everybody an opportunity to become accustomed to them. The other point is the board members are the ones who are the complaints. If there's a complaint filed by a public member or the Ethics Commission, it's against the board chair or all the board members, and then they weed it out from there to see if they're, if there's equitable fault or if it's a single individual's fault. But we've had to add to our website a link for anybody filing a complaint to go to this link on the website and file the complaint. And in the link, there's some direction and some requirements, and I'm going to read those real quick. So a complaint must be filed within 30 days of the alleged violation, and the governing body needs to respond within 10 days. And the complaint process, again, is posted on our website, and folks can get to the complaint form from our website, and we go from there. But each of our programs, our boards, commissions, and councils here under HLO are very good at what we do and staying within bounds. So I don't foresee any issues on that. Are there any questions? Okay. The next item I have to talk about is licensing. Oh, wait a minute. I almost jumped ahead. So we're in legislation, as you all probably know, and there is one bill that we are watching for athletic trainers, and that is to bring the athletic trainers under, what is it?
Board, this is Ann. If I could jump in, Bob. This is more my wheelhouse. There was one bill that directly affected athletic trainers. There's several that affect if they go through HLO. This one includes athletic trainers in the lists of professionals that are included in appropriate bargaining, like collective bargaining. And I thought that this was interesting enough that the members of the athletic training board might want to take a look because it's nuanced and it's more your world than ours. I thought I'd present the whole thing and allow you to cruise through. And if any licensees want to look at the meeting materials, instead of summarize it, I just put it here in its entirety. And again, we're very, very early in the marathon session that are the long sessions. We haven't seen any amendments to this. It hasn't had a hearing yet, but here it is. If you want to take a look at it, and if you have any questions, let me know. Back to you, Bob.
Thank you. Thank you for the save. I had it earlier, and then the morning went on, and so did everything else.
Not a problem.
Okay, that was the best excuse I had, board. Sorry. Next item is the licensing and fiscal statistical report. And I'm on slide 16 if you're following along. In fiscal year 2025, in quarter 3, we've issued 1 license. And in quarter 2, we've issued 18, and quarter 1, 15. Sorry, I went backwards on that one. Licenses renewed, we've had in quarter 1 of fiscal year 2025, 165. In quarter 2, we've had 62. In quarter 3, we've had 11. License by age and gender on slide 18. It's self-explanatory with a total of 457 licensees. Volume of license trends, these are average. So again, the count was 457, and on average, there's 454, and it's in an upward trajectory in quarter 3 of fiscal year 2025, which is a good thing. And the financial report for your board, we began with a beginning cash balance of $466,124, $29,740 in revenue, and expenditures of $23,131, net operations of $52,871, and an ending cash balance of $472,732. So financially, the board is in good shape. And are there any questions for me?
On the expenditures, Bob, is most
Yes.
of the expenditures like we look at 224 in early 25 is kind of high, I guess current to, so it's about the same. But is most of that going into investigations?
Well, fortunately, your board doesn't have many investigations, but to make a long story short, HLO does not receive any money from general fund. So the HLO operation and management of the boards comes from licensure. So that's why, well, 23, 24, I think we did have some high DOJ bills with regards to this program. They may have been cases, or they just may have been legal advice that the board was wanting. And so that's why the number fluctuates, but we're, except for 23, 24, we are right in the ballpark and actually lower than 21 and 22. And speaking of legal advice, I'll just jump onto that real quick. The board had asked legal advice on telemedicine. And I need to inform you that we have 1 AG and 19 programs, and actually 2 AGs, but our main AG, Heather Fogelsong, who most of you have probably already met, she's a busy attorney, so she has not got to the telemedicine legal advice that has been requested, and we are hoping to have it by your next meeting. And hopefully we don't have to push it beyond that. And she and I talk weekly, and it's priority. We just reprioritize each time we speak as important as things come up. Ann.
Thanks, Bob. For the record, this is Ann Thompson. To support Bob's description of the expenditures, Dale, all the boards and programs have to pay a certain amount to help HLO run. HLO has none of its own money. So every board pays a percentage of Bob's salary, my salary, rent, internet. If we have climate control, a portion of that. And so every board pays for based on the licenses that they have and the services they need, right? So if we have to administer an exam, the board might chip in a little bit to cover examination machines and testing and all that, but you only pay for the services that you need. Since you guys don't have inspections, you don't pay for any of our inspection fee, any of the inspectors or that portion of the business. So a lot of the expenditures are just the cost of administering your program according to your licensees and the services you use. Is that helpful, Dale?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. And of
Okay.
course, legal fees. Legal fees are just whatever board's legal fees, you don't share those. Those are just yours. I'm sorry, was there another comment or question?
That was just Bob chime. I thought you were done.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So, okay. Any questions with regards to the fiscal and statistical report?
I have one separate question as it relates to volume license trends.
And this is
So
Ken?
This is Ken Takanaka. So I see that the volume licensing is trending really well. Just in terms of future considerations, do other boards track like how long the average licensee has been a license holder in the state? In other words, do we have a more mature demographic, people who have renewed their licenses multiple times, or do we have most folks who have only renewed once or twice?
That's a great question. This is Bob. We might be able to pull that. It's never been an ask before, but if you go back to slide 18, license by age and gender, and to the renewals. So we'll see that the age and gender, this is a relatively young crowd that is in the profession, and if you go to the licenses renewed, it shows you what the count is. So currently we're at 457 total, and that's from 18 to 25 all the way to 74 to 81 folks that hold a license. And that trends somewhat with fiscal year 2024 on slide 17, the 394, 373, and then as each program, or as each fiscal year moves on, we move back towards that number. So it appears that there may be, we're up in the upward trend.
Bob, Nathan might have some support.
Oh, I didn't see his hand up. Go ahead, Nate.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, we could do that. I could do a chart where it shows like people have had their license 1 to 2 years, and then people have had their license 4 to 6 years. And so, I mean, I could do that'd be a pretty easy stat to pull if that's kind of what you're getting at.
Yeah, this is Ken Takanaka. I think if the board or HLO starts to see a declining trend, then I think it would probably be worthwhile to pull that. I was just kind of curious as to whether it was something that we could do. Right now, the trend looks like it's moving in a positive direction, but in the future, should it ever dip down, it seems like that's valuable information. So
If you
I
ever,
don't
yeah,
know
if you
if-
ever want it, I can definitely
Okay.
pull it if you feel it's necessary, or you just want to see the data. I don't have any problem grabbing that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep.
And board members, this is Anne. This particular licensing group tends to trend young and tends to grow, because we have seen, even though some state universities and colleges have dropped their athletic training track, we have seen athletic trainers being used in more settings. And so we have seen kind of an increase. I haven't seen a dip since I've been here. So this seems to be a fairly healthy, young, growing profession.
And this is Bob. On slide 19, the volume license trends may be deceptive. It's a separation from Q1 of 2023 to Q3 of 2025 of 27 licensees. The graph is somewhat deceptive, is that you see a dip and then the slow climb out. Any other questions on the fiscal statistical reports? Okay, if not, if the board's ready, we'll move on to the regulatory report. Trampus, are you there? There you are.
I am. Hello, everybody. This is Trampus Shuck, Regulatory Manager. I'm just here to talk about the regulatory report. As Bob pointed out in the previous thing, you guys don't get a whole lot of complaints. However, this last biennium, you can see this report shows two biennium, the 2023 biennium, which was the previous biennium, and then the 2025 biennium, which we are in, but not quite all the way through. So we got about 6 months left on this biennium, or not quite 6 months anymore, I guess. But as you can see, we did get a little bit of a bump. We got 8 complaints come in during this current biennium, 7 which are closed and resolved. So for over the last 2 biennium, you can see the previous biennium, we only had 3, which is probably more typical for this group. We don't get a lot of complaints. And the ones we do, you can see up on the to the right where it says complaints by type. You see that a portion of them, especially that kind of bump in 2025, was due to some licensing concerns that came in that we had worked through. So yeah, and you can see on the next little graph, or the next little cube there, complaints by type. 0 were anonymous, 0 were by clients, and all of them were by others. So we didn't have a lot of clients complaining. They were all coming in from third-party sources. That could mean a self-reporter. That could mean a mandatory reporter. That could mean another, as in another athletic trainer. It could mean a school. Could be lots of different things. But yeah, so that's the regulatory report. If anybody has any questions about these numbers or about regulatory in general, investigations, how they function, or anything like that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that I can.
Okay.
Right.
If there are no questions, Chair, this is Bob. We can go into public and interested parties feedback, and I think we had one public on the call.
All right, this is Ken Takanaka. At this time, the Board of Athletic Trainers will hear public and interested parties feedback. Public comment is limited to matters listed on the meeting agenda or topics relevant to what this board has statutory authority to regulate. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes and will not be allowed if they are disruptive to the board's conduct of its business. If you are called on to comment, HLO staff will request the public member to unmute themselves. The chairperson and HLO reserve the right to end a person's comment early and have HLO staff mute the public member if the comment does not pertain to matters listed on the meeting agenda or topics relevant to what this board has statutory authority to regulate. Are there any members of the public who wish to comment? If so, please raise your hand or use MS Teams' raise hand feature and wait to be acknowledged.
This is Carrie. I'm on a call, so I can't raise my hand.
Okay, Carrie, did you have a comment?
I do. I'm Carrie Cunningham. Have been an athletic trainer in Oregon for over 20 years. And I'm here today to ask that you review your protocol in handling athletic trainers with a licensure lapse. Unfortunately, I had a situation come up last spring. In May of 2024, I was given notice by mail of an investigation against my license. And at first I was pretty confused because I didn't really have a reason to suspect something was coming my way. And then it kind of dawned on me the error of my ways. And what had happened was I had sent my renewal in September when it was due. And I, in my hurry, forgot to check the 2 boxes stating I didn't have any felonies or, anything like that. So it got sent back to me, and I made the mistake of putting it in my desk drawer at work. And, as athletic trainers on the committee probably know, the fall is somewhat crazy in the high school setting, and it slipped my mind and honestly did not, come back to my mind until I received notification. Luckily for me, I live close enough to Salem that I could go to the licensing office the next morning and take care of it. So I reinstated my license and got that all taken care of. Then I received notification of the continuation of the investigation. So I went through that process with the investigator. And then in July, I was notified of disciplinary action against my license in the form of a $200 fine. I have to admit, I was a little bit frustrated by that, not because I didn't make a mistake, but because my understanding of our licensure is that it's to protect our profession from people impersonating athletic trainers, not to, discipline people who make a simple mistake. And I was given the option of having a formal hearing, but at that point, I thought that the board of my peers had been part of this decision, and I didn't want to incur any additional costs, and so I waived that option. Unfortunately, now I have against my credentials with the BOC, I have a notification of this. I also have a notification regarding my NPI number. And I feel like this could have been handled with a simple pre-investigation, so to speak, where, somebody were to reach out and say, hey, Carrie, what's going on with your license? It would have, been rectified. So sorry, I'm reviewing my notes here to make sure I covered all my bases. So anyways, I just wanted to bring that to your attention from my perspective and ask that maybe, I know that we're a little bit different than some of the other people in the OHL. So I just wanted to give my perspective.
Okay. Thank you very much. Are there any other public members on the call? Okay. Chair, next item on the agenda is other board business. And I don't believe HLO has anything. Does the board?
This is Dale Isaac. I don't have any additional business at this time.
See Sean shaking his head no.
Yeah, Sean Robinson. I don't have any.
This is Ken Takanaka, and this may be something to bring up with Ann more than anyone. There is another, I believe, piece of legislation. I don't know if it's a bill or what it is, but it has to do with the placement of AEDs and training, and which personnel are required to do so and how and things like that. That is something that would directly impact a significant number of athletic trainers in the state. So I wasn't sure if you were aware of that piece of legislation, or if that was something that the board, you felt needed to be brought to the board at our next meeting or something.
Okay, so you're talking about AEDs. You're talking about those defibrillators?
Correct.
Okay. No, I didn't see anything like that. I'm not saying that I might not have missed it, because they released over 2,500 bills and then another 1,000. So what I'll do is I can go in and look for that specifically. I kind of, as I'm cruising, there's words that catch my attention, and the use of AEDs, is it just in schools?
Yes. To my knowledge, it's actually House Bill maybe 2529,
Okay.
and it is related to the American Heart Association, I believe, in one of their initiatives.
Okay. And American Heart Association, can you tell me how that would impact athletic trainers?
So to my understanding, and I haven't dug into this too far, but that House bill essentially requires certain schools to provide certain training and a certain number of defibrillators. So basically, you have to have a defibrillator within X number of minutes within every area where there could be extracurricular activities performed. But the reason that would impact athletic trainers is, number one, there is no nothing in the House bill that says here's how we're going to fund this. Here's how we're going to maintain all of these. Here's how we're going to, on and on and on. In addition, the House bill essentially states that there's specific training that needs to occur, whereas athletic trainers, by the fact of being licensed, we are already required to have certifications in basic life support and AED usage. And so there's a little bit of redundancy there, and that was a potential concern.
Okay. That I'm really glad you brought that to my attention, because there are several I wouldn't necessarily know what you just said. So that is extremely helpful to me. What I will tell you is, as a practitioner, and I say this to anyone, as a practitioner, as a member of the board, you are welcome to offer testimony on bills like that, not as a board member. So it's very important to let the legislator know that if you want to submit testimony explaining how that would impact your profession or the funding issue, the unfunded mandate is something we're extremely familiar with. But you can say, I'm a member of the Athletic Trainers Board. However, I am testifying on this bill as a practitioner. My concerns are, and that way they know what hat you're wearing when you offer testimony. I'm glad you brought that to my attention, because again, something in schools, if it's not a private career school or something that would affect us, it would have gone, my retinas wouldn't even have caught it. So I will look into that. Is that a bill that you would like to have the rest of the board members have, or is everybody comfortable going to the legislative website and checking that out? I'm happy to distribute that to the board if I find it. Would that be useful to you?
In my opinion, I think it would be useful.
Okay. Well, let me look for it. I appreciate you giving me a number to go by, but also the AED is something I can search for. And when you're looking in a forest that big, any clue is super helpful. So thank you. I'd be happy to send that out again. We'll watch it. by the time we have our next meeting in November, unless we have to be called together for a special reason, a case or something like that, our next meeting will be in November. So we will know what bills have passed and what bills haven't, and any potential impact. So the legislative session is usually over around June. So you can keep an eye on that as a professional, and we'll certainly keep an eye on it on our end. But after this meeting, I will look for that specifically and get it out to the board members.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, no, thank you for letting me know. Is there anything else any member would like me to put on the agenda for next meeting? If you can't think of anything right now and something occurs to you later on, as often happens, just let me know, or a member of staff, Josh, or anyone here, and we'll be sure to have that on the next meeting. Hopefully your legal advice will be ready by then as well. So if there isn't anything else, Bob, any additional thoughts, or are we gaveling out?
I was muted. This is Bob. I was just giving the chair the same the same spiel. If there is nothing else, Chair, you can gavel us out if you wish.
Do
Thanks,
we
wonderful.
do we need to look at dates for November to make sure they work for the board members, or is that
Oh,
set
it's
on-
already been, thank you for bringing that up. The date that the board voted on in the fall is November 5th. It is a Wednesday, which was preferred by board members because of traveling on Thursdays. Are we all good with that?
Thumbs up from Sean.
Yeah.
Thumbs up from Jeff.
And as we get closer, if you have a conflict, this is a small board, and so quorum can be kind of tough to get sometimes. If you have a conflict, let us know as soon as possible, and we can reschedule. It's not a problem, but us knowing that we won't have a quorum really keeps us from spinning up a meeting and then having to move it. So just stay in touch.
Yeah, works for me, but hopefully we'll have a new board member in my place by November 5th.
And we'll let you know. Are you interested in serving until replaced, Dale?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Great. I really, really appreciate it. Our new executive assistant, Chrissy Pickett, has been doing a great job at recruiting, but sometimes we have gaps. Sometimes, things happen. People move out of state. The process can be long and things can happen along the way. But
she's been
if you
great.
are willing to serve until replaced, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, she had reached out to me and was asking for potential members, so she's very much on top of it.
Very good. Good to
Yeah,
know.
she's great.
All right. If there's nothing else, Chair, you can gavel us out.
Okay, this is Ken Takanaka. The Board of Athletic Trainers meeting is adjourned at 9:41 a.m.
Excellent. Thank
Thank
you,
you all
everybody.
so much.
We'll see you in
Thank you.
November. If you have any questions or anything, just reach out to us.